It made the young man's brow contract, for it brought to him a vision of dead faces in the gloom of a November dusk. He had once had a friend who used to whistle that air, and he had seen him die in the Hollowbecker mud. There was something macabre in the tune. He was surely morbid this evening, for there seemed something macabre about the house, the room, the dancing, all Russia. These last days he had suffered from a sense of calamity impending, of a dark curtain drawing down upon a splendid world. They didn't agree with him at the embassy, but he could not get rid of the notion. The girl saw his sudden abstraction. "What are you thinking about?" she asked. It had been her favourite question as a child. "I was thinking that I rather wished you were still in Paris." "But why?" "Because I think you would be safer." "Oh, what nonsense, Quentin dear. Where should I be safe if not in my own Russia, where I have friends, oh, so many, and tribes of relations? It is France and England that are unsafe, with the German guns grumbling at their doors. My complaint is that my life is too cosseted and padded. I am too secure, and I do not want to be secure." The young man lifted a heavy casket from a table at his elbow. It was of dark green imperial jade with a wonderfully carved lid. He took off the lid and picked up 3 small oddments of ivory, a priest with a beard, a tiny soldier, and a draft ox. Putting the 3 in a triangle, he balanced the jade box on them. "Look, Saskia, if you were living inside that box, you would think it very secure. You would note the thickness of the walls and the hardness of the stone, and you would dream away in a peaceful green dusk. But all the time it would be held up by trifles, brittle trifles." She shook her head. "You do not understand. You cannot understand. We are a very old and strong people with roots deep, deep in the earth." "Please God you are right," he said. "But Saskia, you know that if I can ever serve you, you have only to command me. Now I can do no more for you than the mouse for the lion at the beginning of the story. But the story had an end, you remember, and some day it may be in my power to help you. Promise to send for me." The girl laughed merrily. "The King of Spain's daughter," she quoted, "came to visit me, and all for the love of my little nut tree." The other laughed also, as a young man in the uniform of the Preobrazhensky Guard approached to claim the girl. "Even a nut tree may be a shelter in a storm," he said. "Of course I promise, Quentin," she said. "Au revoir. Soon I will come and take you to supper, and we will talk of nothing but nut trees." He watched the 2 leave the room, her gown glowing like a tongue of fire in the shadowy archway. Then he slowly rose to his feet, for he thought that for a little he would watch the dancing. Something moved beside him, and he turned in time to prevent the jade casket from crashing to the floor. 2 of the supports had slipped. He replaced the thing on its proper table and stood silent for a moment. The priest and the soldier gone, and only the beast of burden left. If I were inclined to be superstitious, I should call that a dashed bad omen. End of the prologue. Huntingtower by John Buchan. Chapter 1. How a retired provision merchant felt the impulse of spring. Mr. Dickson McCunn completed the polishing of his smooth cheeks with the towel, glancing appreciatively at their reflection in the looking-glass, and then permitted his eyes to stray out of the window. In the little garden, lilacs were budding, and there was a gold line of daffodils beside the tiny greenhouse. Beyond the sooty wall, a birch flaunted its new tassels, and the jackdaws were circling about the steeple of the Guthrie Memorial Kirk. A blackbird whistled from a thorn bush, and Mr. McCunn was inspired to follow its example. He began a tolerable version of Roy's Wife of Aldivalloch. He felt singularly light-hearted, and the immediate cause was his safety razor. A week ago he had bought the thing in a sudden fit of enterprise, and now he shaved in 5 minutes, where before he had taken 20, and no longer confronted his fellows, at least 1 day in 3, with a countenance ludicrously mottled by sticking plaster. Calculation revealed to him the fact that in his 55 years, having begun to shave at 18, he wasted 3,370 hours, or 140 days,